Okay, so we spoke about the parts of the Mishnah. We had the case, the din, and the tam, and we said the case is really a problem, the din is the chiddush in the problem, and the tam leads you to the principle. So now I want to start learning a Mishnah. So I want to tell you a story. I learned by Tzvika Shalevsky a bunch of years ago, and we were sitting in the shir, and about half an hour in, he turns to a guy and he says to him, "So did you understand?" So the bacher says, "I didn't understand anything." So he said, "Okay, tell me the part you didn't understand and I'll explain it to you." So the guy said, I didn't understand anything. So Tzvi said to him, "What do you mean? It can't be you didn't understand anything. Tell me the part you didn't understand and I'll explain to you that part." So what's the oimik of this story? What happened over here was that this guy had maybe 1, 2, even 3 questions or problems within the shir. And because of those problems, the entire shir got messed up. The entire thing was blurry. So the problem is when we learn Gemara, when we learn sugyas, we're guaranteed to have questions in the sugya. We're guaranteed to have things that are unclear. So the problem is that leads to a complete blurriness in the entire thing. One question can mess up our entire clarity. So the question is, how do we combat this problem? How do we be clear about what's clear and clear about what's unclear? I have a guy Koilel. It's amazing. He's clear about everything. Now, does he understand everything? No, but he knows exactly what's not clear, and that's bordered off, that's defined, and everything else he's clear about. So how do we combat this problem? So I want to suggest 2 steps when you begin learning. Now, this applies to when I start learning a Mishnah, but it's actually more applicable to learning Gemara because Gemara, by definition, is a lot more confusing and a lot more details. But it applies to the Mishnah as well, and we'll speak it out in the Mishnah. When we get to the Gemara, we'll speak it out in the Gemara. So the 2 steps. So what are these 2 steps? Now we spoke about like the bad habits, breaking the bad habits in learning, and developing good habits. So I think one of I would call it a not a good habit, is the fact that we just dive in to learning. We dive into the Mishnah. We just start reading and translating, without no direction, no unorganized, no structure. Everything's just we dive in. What happens is that leads to confusion because I'm not organized. So so we have to get organized and structured. We need to be organized and structured in our learning. Imagine you're a builder and you go to the building site, and the head contractor, the head kabbalan is over there. He's sitting there, and all the materials are laid out, and he tells you, "Okay, build it." So you say to him, "Build it? Build what? What am I supposed to be building?" So he says, "Build it." You say, "That's ridiculous. I can't build it if I don't know what I'm supposed to be building." So the first question, step number 1, the first question is I'm going to ask myself, what is this Mishnah about? What is this Mishnah about? I'm going to title this Mishnah. Now, it's different than what does this Mishnah contain. I had a chavrusa once, and we went through a whole sugya, and then I asked him, "So what's this Gemara about?" So he starts to tell me the whole shaklavataria. And I said, "No, not what's contained within the sugya. What's this sugya about? Give me one line, one title." So title it. Now, the way to answer the title, what's this Mishnah about, is I'm gonna read through the Mishnah as quickly as I can and try to look for the key words, and that's how I'm gonna answer the question without getting confused by the details. Try to ignore the details. Adarabba, I'm trying to answer this one question. What is this Mishnah about? Now, obviously, I'm going to have to, someone might say, I only know what it's about. I can only answer the question after I learn the whole Mishnah. Now, it's not true. You can do it. I'm assuming that you know how to learn properly. You can do it. You read through the Mishnah and just answer that question. Now, at the end, you'll maybe have to tweak it a little bit, because after you see all the details, you'll have to change it a little bit. Fine. But what this is going to do, the result of this is it's going to give you 100% or near 100% clarity in this question of what this Mishnah is about. It's a very powerful thing to do, because you'll be clear and defined about what this is about. Now, even if all the details in the pratim are confused, I'm 100% clear about what this Mishnah is about, and that clarity is not going to change. I can come away with knowing what this Mishnah is about. It's a big thing, and it gives you the ability to now, I know I'm building an apartment building. I'm building an apartment building, right? So when I come to the construction site, I know I'm supposed to build an apartment building. So I know what this mission is about. I title it. Now sometimes it'll be about 2 things in a chanami, but title the Mishnah. It's a very simple. It sounds simple, but it's extremely important. So that's step number 1. Title it. Now step number 2 is, so I'm on my construction site, and the builder says, okay, so I know I have to build an apartment building. It's not a hotel. It's not an old age home. It's an apartment building. So he says, okay, build an apartment building. Start building. So I say, well, what do you mean? How many floors does it have? Right? Are there elevators? Is there 2 elevators, 1 elevator? So I need to know the parts of the structure. I need to know what the parts of the structure are. So that's question number 2 I'm going to ask myself. Question number 2 is, what are the parts of the Mishnah? I'm going to read through the Mishnah again quickly. I'm not starting to analyze anything. I just want to know the one question in my mind is what are the parts of the Mishnah? Parts being, the case. How many cases are there? Is there 1 case? Is there 2 cases? Are there 2 cases? Is there a machlokes? What are the names? So I'm going to say the case number 1, it's Lukuli Alma Potter. Case number 2, there's machlokes, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Yeshua, and then case number 3, Potter again. So whatever, just chiluk and mispar. The Darkei Gemara calls it chiluk and mispar. Break up the parts and name them what they are. Case, I have 2 cases, 1 case, 2 dinim, and number them also. Numbering is a huge thing. Numbering gives a lot of clarity because I defined it. So I know I have 2 cases. So I know I'm building an apartment building. I have 2 cases over here. A machlokes in each one, and then so I'm getting the structure clear. I'm getting everything clear. So that's it. So step number 1 again we mentioned is what's this Mishnah about. Step number 2 is what are the parts contained in the Mishnah. Now and then step number 3, right? It's as opposed to coming, just diving in and imagine you go to you go to the 3rd floor and you start analyzing a tile on the 3rd floor and you're trying to figure out what color it is. Right? And you don't even realize you're in an apartment building, you don't even know what floor you're on. So that's, the nimshal to that is when I get stuck on some little Rashi in the Mishnah. We'll see if this applies to the Gemara as well. Some little Rashi, which is not really minei bay in the sugya. It's bringing a different point over here. And I make that the focus, and I think that's the klal, and I get all confused. So first, step number 1 is, what's this Mishnah about? Step number 2 is what are the parts of the Mishnah, and then step number 3 we're going to go on to divide and conquer. So now I know the parts, the structure. I'm going to go into the case number 1, and we're going to try to understand what this is, what this case is.